All right, I'm trying this again for the second time in the morning. I just came off of Crime and Coffee's uh, channel. And funny thing is, they are talking about what I wanted to talk about. But I didn't tell anybody over there because I am not going to pull out of other people's channels. That's just freaking rude. So I'm just going to wait a little bit here. See if anybody. Hello, there you are, Paul. Hello. I am talking the Ted Bundy movie. I'm ready. I've been holding it in for like a week. That you will definitely get a wrench as soon as I figure out how to do it. I don't know what the hell. Look at, I can't even keep my computer straight. So, yeah, I wanted to touch on the Ted Bundy movie because I didn't see anybody talking about it so far online. I just wanted to do like a brief synopsis. Can you hear the music? Is it too annoying? Of course you do. Absolutely. That's how it always works, right? Did Oh, you haven't watched it? Ah, ah. I mean, I don't know if it's spoilers since we kind of all know what happened. Hey, everybody. Hi, Jackie Oliver. Hello, Owen Reese. How are you? Can you hear the music in the background? And if so, is it annoying? Because if it is, I will turn it off. Just let me know. Anything? Anybody find the music annoying? Not annoying. Good, good. I just kind of have it on as background music just in case if like things get silent so you're not listening to dead air. So I might as well get started. I wanted to talk about the shockingly evil, wickedly. See, the name is so damn long, and I should have just had this up and ready to go. But every time I go to say the name of the movie, I 100% forget it. Well, I shouldn't get flagged because I'm. Oh, if I say the name of the movie, would it? I don't even know what is considered flagged anymore. Well, I think you all know what movie I'm talking about. The movie with Zac Efron. Um, I found it extremely different from what I thought it was going to be. I mean, I did remember that they took it from the girlfriend's point of view. Um, and it's really like the side of Ted Bundy that was just so manipulative. That's what this more movie is about. It's why people didn't believe that he would do this, why he had girlfriends, why he had like stalkers at the courtroom, because he was such a charming guy and he came off as, I mean, I probably back in the day, if I would have put myself in college and saw a guy like that and wanted giving me a ride, I probably would have been dumb enough to jump in. Not in these days. Hello, Mary O. Hello, Daniel Duran. Hey, everybody. If I haven't said hi, I'm sorry. Um, so when I watched it, I actually watched it twice. As soon as it came out, I watched it. I'm just trying to turn off my TV here because I'm getting distracted. So it starts off, kind of the 1970s Ted, and Zac Efron does a chilling portrayal of Ted Bundy. It's kind of scary. At first I'm like, Zac Efron, and he really comes across as Ted Bundy, and it's scary. I got that. That's what I got from that. And as I watched the movie, and I've known about the Ted Bundy story for about since I was younger. I remember the first movie that came out about him called The Deliberate Stranger. It was a 6 ABC movie, and it was on in the 80s. And Mark Harmon played Ted Bundy, and it was a really good movie. Or you mean the Netflix one, or do you mean The Deliberate Stranger, Jackie? Because they're both actually really good movies, and they all take it from, normally people like to see the gore. There's no gore. They do show some pictures that are the actual pictures. So that's not something I was looking for, but it's so quick and fast. It's just to show the fact that he used to bite his people that he killed, like his prey. He bit them. And that was one of the uh, evidence that was very easy because he had a chipped tooth in the front. And with the bite mark that they analyzed on the one girl matched his teeth. But what they said is Ted Bundy is not the smart, murderer or serial killer that we thought he was. Because he got so obsessed with killing people and killing girls who looked like an old girl that turned him down, although he looked like his girlfriend Elizabeth as well, because they all had long, straight hair parted down the middle. And I watched it. I'm telling you, Zac Efron is just terrifying and chilling. And the girl who plays his girlfriend, Elizabeth, is really good too. She brings a lot to the floor. Now, there is a person that who was in there. I'm like, it's a Haley Joel Osment, right? He's the one who did the I See Dead People, the little kid from Sixth Sense. He winds up being Liz's boyfriend to help her get over Ted. And that doesn't actually work out too well. But there are a lot of things that are used to make it a little bit more dramatic. But for the most part, what they said, most of the scenes that they put in the movie are real, are actually real. And yes, it took a completely different angle. It took the angle of the people who actually met this person and never saw it coming. So that's why I found it so interesting. Bye, Paul. I love you. When I get back, I'm going to try to figure out how to do these wrenches because I'm just learning how to do lives. So I got to figure out all this new stuff. I'm so behind on everything on YouTube. I'm like, I don't know how to do this or that. And my camera's really close to my face. I apologize. But if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you put it on your schedule for this weekend. It's just a really good observation why so many women fell for this handsome, good-looking, charismatic guy who turns into this monster. And some of the things that he did to these, I'm not even going to get into that part because that's what made me sick. So, but Zac Efron, he really does. He does a great part by, I'm just trying to nailing down all the things, and it's not coming to my head, of course, because I had a horrible night's sleep. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. But when I watched it, like my husband thinks there's something wrong with me because I like true crime. And I'm like, it's not like I'm supporting the crime. It's, hello, Tis Lisa, how are you? It's not that I'm supporting the crime, by no means. But I've always been interested in crime. And I think it's because what makes people tick? Like what turns people into these mass killers or serial killers or someone who kills their family? Like that, especially with the Chris Watts case. And that's probably the only time I'll ever say his name again. That scared the bejesus out of me. And I remember we were down the shore and I was watching the interview that Chris Watts gave. And we were watching, and I was with other families, with my kids' friends. And we're all sitting there, we're all like, oh my God, he's guilty. I'm like, why aren't they arresting him right? Like we could tell immediately, like everybody could tell immediately that Chris Watts was lying. But that's just the story that I cannot talk about it anymore. Like it's been talked about on YouTube. I understand the CW word is clickbait. I don't care. I want no parts of that story because I find it to be a horrendous story. And I think the family of Shanann absolutely needs like peace. And I feel bad. I feel absolutely awful that a family had to go through something like that. And to not actually turn it full circle. But, when people think about Ted Bundy, I don't think people often think about the families that are still alive because it's such a story from so long ago. So, I mean, it started, in 1974? But they actually think it started while he was a teenager now. And that's what they're saying, that he had stated that it's not 30 some odd people that he killed that he admitted to. It's actually hundreds. And they're not even sure. but all we know is 32. But there's a whole lot more. And unfortunately, he probably picked up people during that time that maybe didn't have loved ones of their time or were runaways or something like that. But I don't know if you ever heard the one girl that he picked up, and he was real nice to her, and he was driving her through the town, and he's like, "Hey, jump in the car. Are you going up to the main campus? Well, I'm heading up there and the bus isn't coming, so jump in the car." He looked very safe and innocent. Like, he didn't look like someone you would be afraid of. And maybe the bug should have been like, but as you all know, when you're in college or high school, you, for the most part, have shit cars. I didn't have a car until I got out of college. But yeah, so that was the one thing that she said that was worrying about her, because he was so attentive, nice, asking her questions, just shooting the crap around, just talking. He says, "Hey, I got to go run something over by the zoo. Would you mind?" She's like, "No, it's fine." So they go towards the zoo. They go past the zoo, and they keep driving. And she's like, "I thought you had to go to the zoo." All of a sudden, she said his demeanor completely changed. "Why did you take this car ride? Why did you take this car ride? You're not going to make it, you know. You're not going to make it." She says, she's like, "I knew my life was going to be over." And it's to watch this, that she can say this story, even though it's been so long, without being hurt. Bye, Lisa. I'm sorry. I'm not keeping up good with the chat because I'm trying to focus on telling the story, because if I keep reading the chat, I'm not going to keep up with my story. I'm not that good as a multitasker in my head. Hello, Elvis. Welcome back. The movie is great. It really is. I'm just actually talking about one of the girls that he captured, and the one girl who got away and he had choked her a few times to the point of unconsciousness, and unfortunately took her clothes off, and she wound up getting away and running away. And that's one of the big reasons why he was caught. Now, this is a giveaway, and I'm not going to give this part away, but at the end, it's actually at the beginning of the movie when you come in, and at the end of the movie where it picks up. And it's Ted in jail speaking to Elizabeth, his girlfriend. And "Hello, Carla, you made it! Yay!" I didn't want to say anything in Crime and Coffees that I was going live with this, because I wasn't going to take anybody away from her. I'm like, "Oh, they're talking about the Ted Bundy movie." So I'll get back to that, because I can lose track really easy, so I can't do that. And that's why I keep doing lives now, because I know I got to get used to that. And I'm not used to. I'm used to being in radio, where if you don't like the way you sound, you stop it, you re-record it until you sound the way that you like. That's not something you can do in a live. So I just got to work with my brain on quick mode like that. Oh, and by the way, I have a hound dog, half hound, half black lab. And she has the scariest bark. So if you see me jump and like my laptop go flying, it's because she sees something outside and she scares us half to death with her bark, like to the point that she makes us angry, because she'll give us a heart attack. So back to the Ted Bundy movie with the girl. Yeah, so she escaped. But in the beginning of the movie, when Elizabeth goes to meet Ted Bundy, and I think everybody who's ever seen the trailer has saw part of this, where she sees him and she asks him if he did it, and he says absolutely not. And that's just not true. The man was a very good liar. And the reason why he represented himself was because every lawyer's like, Ted, they've got too much. We got to do a plea deal. And he wound up getting into a fight with his lawyer in the courtroom, and he resigned. I did not know that either. I was like, oh. There is so much that this movie shows that you will not see from either like the tapes of Ted Bundy or The Deliberate Stranger or any other Ted Bundy. And it 100% is not glorifying. Like I said, I found Zac Efron to be extremely chilling, because he had the demeanors of Ted Bundy. He had like the teeth of Ted Bundy. But it's honestly really, the cops didn't give up, at least in Florida. But the fact that he escaped twice from prison is insane. Well, the first time, I shouldn't say, he escaped from the courthouse where he was a lawyer, and he jumped out of the window and ran. They found him, I think, a month later, like in the Appalachians or something like, not the Appalachians, the Colorado Rockies. Um, and then we all know what happened when he went to Florida, and then he got caught, he escaped, and then he did what he did at the sorority house, which I've seen some of the interviews with some of the victims. It's like they have absolutely no recollection. The one girl who was beaten with the log, who was alive, came to like a few days later, had no idea she was beaten, none. And this isn't even the movie. This is actually stuff that I watched on my own. And my husband is absolutely terrified because he thinks I'm going to become a serial killer. I'm like, I'm just into this right now. I find it intriguing. That's all. He was a narcissist. He was a big narcissist. And not only was he a narcissist, he was a psychopath beyond belief. I think he was a bit of both, a psychopath and a sociopath, because he could blend in with any crowd. Now, with his girlfriend, they met in a bar, and they asked, was it different? Was it weird? She's like, the only thing was weird is that he wouldn't stop staring at her. I've seen Ted Bundy stares. I can't even imagine. But she didn't know that. She thought he was this wonderful guy. But there are parts of the movie where she starts to suspect maybe he did it. But she doesn't want to believe it. But she did break away from him. And she starts thinking it was all her fault. But I'll let the rest of the movie tell you the rest of the story. But it's just because so many people in here haven't seen it. I'm not going to go real big into detail right now. But I highly, if you got time this weekend, set aside an hour and a half. And it's not a movie. Hello, Meg Ryan. How are you? It is. It's a really good movie to watch. It's not something that is grotesque to watch. It's not something that has a lot of blood. It's not what you think of Ted Bundy, because they're taking it from what the girlfriend sees and what she knows. So they take us through the movie as if, okay, he's not a serial killer, but we know that he is. Everybody knows that he is, but they try to take it from that route because it's an interesting. Who's texting me? Sorry, my sister's texting me. Sorry. It's just an interesting and fascinating look from the girlfriend's perspective that makes it even more so chilling than just having the serial killer, because he could have been our best friend, our parents' friend, or anything like that. Especially Molly, who was Elizabeth's daughter. She actually contributed a lot to the movie, a lot. And he was like a father to her. But he conceived a daughter of his own with this woman he decided to marry at the courthouse because she was the only one there that was standing up for him. And he proposed to her like in the courtroom while on the witness stand. And he looks at the judge. He asks, and he's like, will you marry me? And she says, yes. And he said, so I do believe under this that we are married. And then he goes and he looks at the judge and he goes, now this saying this under oath is good enough for us to be married in the state of Florida, correct, Your Honor? And he was like, yes, because it was at that time. And she did have his child. Her name, I don't know if they're giving us a phony name, but they said her name is Rose. I'm sure for a fact she is not carrying that name with her anymore. Who would want to be related to that name? And I believe Carol Ann Boone, who was the one who married him, passed away last year and was living in Seattle as of last year. And I believe his daughter was living in Seattle. I had seen some news reports about that. And it's just a crazy story. And it's crazy that I can remember it. And I was that young. And who's texting me? Which was weird because I was probably, when that came out, about 10, and it was a 6 ABC movie. So back then, like, TV movies were completely innocent. So they didn't show any blood or gore when Mark Harmon played him, but Mark Harmon back in the 80s was really, really good looking. Really good looking. He is now, but now he's a silver fox instead of a young, dashing man. His biological daughter has been uncovered. Um, from what I heard about his biological daughter, her name is Rose. She was Rose Bundy. After Carol Ann Boone divorced him in 1987, when she found out he was guilty, they broke everything off. Yeah. She hasn't been uncovered. I think she's hiding under an alias name, which they have said, who wouldn't? I wouldn't want that name following me the rest of my life at all. I mean, that's got to be something horrific that she's got to live through, And excuse me, I need some water. My friend brought me this. It says, Momster, what happens to a mom after she counts to 3? It's 5. I wouldn't say 3, but 5. I'm thirsty. And it's such, Ted Bundy, but to me, what I find fascinating is what made his head click. Like what would make you want to be this Republican, nice guy, going to law school, and just, he couldn't contain his urges to rape women and kill them. And he, in the end, I don't know if anybody either saw the Ted Bundy tapes on Netflix before the movie came out. I watched that and listened to that too, because I never heard those before either. And he admits, especially to Georgianne, I don't remember her last name, Georgianne Hawkins, I think her name was. Georgianne Hawkins was one of the first ones out of Colorado that I think he killed. And he explained exactly what he did to her, where it was. And that's how the guy who was in charge of interviewing him through this time sat down and talked with him. And he was trying to buy time to keep his life. I don't know why. I mean, you're living on death row. Why would you want to prolong death row? I don't think I would want to, especially if I was him. But he wasn't a normal person, so we can't actually say what we would or wouldn't do. They say his parents were normal and had a normal. No, he didn't, Mario. Believe it or not, he grew up in Philadelphia for a while as a bastard child, is what they called it back then. His mother wound up having him at a very young age, and he grew up believing his mother was his sister. And he grew up believing that was his sister. And then as time went on, they finally found out that that's his mom, and they moved out to Seattle, Washington, and she met this great guy with the last name of Bundy, and he took the last name. And then apparently he had gotten really fixated on porn. And when he got fixated on porn is what he says what led him to this. No, I disagree. I know most men look at porn, especially with on the internet. There's plenty of porn and nobody's killing people. I mean, could it be a trigger from some people? Absolutely. Anything could be a trigger for some people. But there was something not right in his head that allowed him to do this to other people. Because I can't even fathom even knowing somebody like that. Unfortunately, I have a couple of videos of this. A friend of mine, and I'm not going to go real deep into this because I talk to her on a daily basis and I always check in with her. But there was these horrible killings 2 summers ago in Bucks County by this horrible guy named, he was a kid, he was 20, Cosmo DiNardo. And he wound up luring 4 young boys onto his farm in Bucks County, which isn't far from me here, in Pennsylvania. He lured them in there with weed and he killed them. All 4 boys, 1 being my friend's son. That was awful. Absolutely awful. Now, at that point, I was friends with his mom online. We would, but now that, her son had diabetes, and the one thing that they found on the property was his car with his diabetes bag in Cosmo DiNardo's garage. And they said his diabetes stuff was in there. And yeah, once they started finding the bodies, it was like the worst feeling in the world. And I wasn't close with his mom. I'm doing my very best. I'm almost about to say her name. I'm like, I don't want to say her name. And when my daughter was diagnosed with diabetes, she was just diagnosed with diabetes in December. So it was a crazy, it was a crazy month. December was a horrible month. My daughter was diagnosed with ADHD, anxiety, and diabetes in one day. So I just was talking with live from my sofa, Paul, and I was telling him about the problems I'm having with her school and getting her an IEP, which by law she is eligible for. But the school keeps fighting me. I don't know why. Because apparently an IEP in New Jersey cost $1,000. What an IEP is, an individual education program. It's kind of like a special education, but it's not. It's just extra help, extra time, so she's not so overwhelmed. And if they wanted to try to push us to a 504 because a 504 doesn't cost any money. So when they called me and I thought, oh, okay, they want to put an emergency 504 in before the IEP. Awesome. And then my tutor who used to work at the school was like, do not take a 504 because they're going to try to bump you out. And so this was at 10 o'clock. And then I'm like, I went from extremely exhausted to awake. And I'm like, oh. And so I call and leave message on the vice principal's phone, not threatening, but if they, not helping me out, you will hear from my attorney. I just wanted them to know I meant business. And then the woman from today from special education called me and she's like, I swear to you, you already signed the IEP. So by law, we have to move forward. Cool. Oh, can you hear me? Can you still hear me? Thumbs up. Yeah. Is anyone still here? Oh, yes, Mary. Yeah, they are. My sister used to work at Council Rock. And that's what she was in charge of, was placing these kids. She placed a lot of my friends' kids. And she cannot get over the problems and I'm having with New Jersey schools because they don't want to shovel out money. And an IEP is $1,000 and a 504 is nothing. So they're trying to push a 504, even though that's not the best option. So when my tutor told me this last night at 10 o'clock when I'm half falling asleep, I wound up getting pissed off. I'm now enraged. I'm like, you become a bear when it comes to your kids, especially when you have to keep fighting for something they deserve. And it's not fair. It's not fair. So I called the woman from the special education called me today and she said, you signed everything for the IEP. By law, we have to. So we'll not do a 504. We'll just go put accommodations in. She needs help. I'm like, maybe they actually do want to help my daughter. Awesome. So I have to go down to the school at 2:45 and hopefully fight for her. And hopefully it won't be too much of a fight. No way. Your kids are at Penridge. Mary, I thought you were in South Philly. Oh, I'm sorry if I said that out loud. I didn't want to put that up. Yes, that's what, and Mary, see, that's exactly, I know, I just switched off the 10 Bundy. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm just going to go what everyone's talking about here. I got to go with the flow. Yeah, and she's my oldest. My oldest has a problem. My youngest is really funny. I had to hold her back in kindergarten because I used to go in and help her teacher. I loved her kindergarten teacher. He was the nicest teacher, and he was the only male kindergarten teacher I've ever met. He's the best teacher ever. You'll never forget your favorite teacher from school. And guess what? You're never going to forget the teacher that helped out your kids the most. And my favorite teacher is Miss Jean Tamara from St. Anselm School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where I went to grade school. And on Facebook, I just put something up like it wasn't something that was meant to go big and crazy, but it was right around Christmas time. I just said, do you remember who your favorite teacher is? Mine's Jean Tamara. And my other friends, all of a sudden, I had over 1,000 to 2,000 response within 3 days. That doesn't happen to me on Facebook. I'm like, and she's like, why did you do this? She's like, this is amazing. This is the best Christmas gift ever. Because she has now a lot of pain and chronic pain. So we talk to each other about that. We're like, yeah, we need to go out and have drinks. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go drink with my 8th grade teacher. You went, oh my God, Mary. I swear to God, we definitely must have bumped into each other somewhere. I went to Archbishop Ryan High School for high school. And I graduated with 1,000 people. It was a big. You work in Philly. Oh, I see. All right. Oh, hey, Rena Hall. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't been keeping up with the chat because I'm talking. And if I keep up with the chat, I'm going to be looking over here and I'm not going to be talking. So if I haven't said anything, please, I'm not ignoring you. Oh, you live in Bucks. Do you know how often I'm in Bucks County, Mary? I am the next county over from you in New Jersey. I'm in Mercer. That's hysterical. Awesome. Thank you. Is it Rena Hall? Rena. Thank you. I'm just, as I said, I'm sitting and getting used to these lives and talking. At first, I think it was, I don't know if you all follow Mel Mel. She's Mel, M-E-L, Mel Mel. She's a trip and she's fun. Some of you I know already know her in here. So definitely check her out. I woke up at 3:00 this morning and I was wide awake and I popped in and there she was live. I'm like, hey, I'm really enjoying YouTube. My husband's like, you do know you're addicted now. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that though. Pretty soon we're going to be getting rid of Verizon, the cable, the phone. It's all going. We don't need it anymore. I'm never on the TV, hardly ever. Yeah, I did. I started more on my channel, Kaylee, about the diseases that I have right now. That's why I'm home. That's why I'm here talking to you and not working, because unfortunately I'm disabled. I just had a medical procedure yesterday. It's so far better than it was before. So, but we have to do a series of 3 of these things, and each time they have to knock me out. So yesterday I haven't had a shot in my back. I haven't had even a needle put in my arm since January. So I have obviously very fair skin, and with fair skin comes really bad veins. So I just pray that they get the IV in. I don't care about the procedure itself. It's more the IV because they could never get it. So they go in and out, and it hurts. And then, so yeah, they did me good yesterday. So they stuck me 7 times. You can kind of see, it's ridiculous. Can you see that? Finally, honestly, they got it on this thumb. That's how they finally got it in. But yeah, she murdered me. But that's the biggest problem. Get the IV in. Just get it in. Put me out. That's all I need. Exactly. That's my biggest problem as being like a redhead, is the fair skin and the really bad veins. Because sometimes I've been so sick that they've had to put PICC lines in because they can't find my veins. And I had a PICC line during my 2nd pregnancy because I had hyperemesis, especially with my 2nd child, the whole pregnancy. I dropped 18 pounds during the 1st trimester. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever lost weight. But it all found it back by 8-9 months. Trust me. I was quite big in August with my 2nd one. But once I had my 2nd one, the doctor looked at me and said, you do understand if you have another child, there's a very good chance you and the child will die. I'm like, tie those suckers up when you're in there. Thanks. Yeah, I was not going to take that. I've had medical problems since a kid, and I've been misdiagnosed as a kid because every time when I was in like fourth grade, I was in hospital for like 3 months. My grandmother passed away when I was in the hospital. I feel awful for my mom for what she had to go through during that time. Um, but that's where all my medical issues pretty much started, was when I was in fourth grade. And once I hit around seventh, eighth grade, high school, college, I was good. I had nothing wrong. And then when I got pregnant with my first kid is when everything went to crap. And it has nothing to do with the kids. It has to do with the fact that, your bones relax so they can expand, so you can expand. My body didn't like that. And that's where the ankylosing spondylitis came in. And I was about 6 years after that before I actually got diagnosed. But I've dealt with a lot of problems with hospitals, hospital doctors, and having a condition that is invisible. I should be doing both, but I can't. I'm holding onto the computer. It's not invisible. I mean, unfortunately, now my back turns to stone even more so than it did before. I got the spinal stimulator in my back in October. That's a whole nother story, because I got the spinal stimulator put in, but it wasn't the paddle that's put against your spine. So they put the leads in. They go in the inside of the bones of your spine. And you have a remote, literally, and you turn the remote up or down. And from there, I will get stimulation going down my back, but it stops in the middle of my back. So now everything from the middle down is good, and everything from the middle up is horrible. So that's why I had to go to the doctor yesterday to see if we can bring down the swelling at my top from the ankylosing. It is what it is. I got to learn to live with it, and I've been living with it for a while. I want to do more. I want to do more things, and that's why I started this channel. True Crime Truth Fighters. She's really like one of the first people I really met from YouTube and talked to, and she was the one who's like, you should do it. And also Miss Murder Australia. You should check her out too. She's got a really good page. And her Miss Murder Australia was the one who said, I suffer from chronic pain too, terribly. That's why I do this. And as I've gone around to other people's pages, I've noticed a lot of people suffer with chronic pain around 44. It hit me in my 30s. I'm sorry, my phone keeps going off. Turn it off so it stops buzzing me. Hello, Jen's family. Jen's large family parody. I just checked out. We're just new subscribers to her. She's got a really funny channel, so definitely go check her out. And if you are looking to grow your channel, go to Tiz Lisa. She has the best people who come in, check out your channel, and if they like what they see, they subscribe, and if they don't, they don't. Not all channels are that way, but Tiz Lisa has an awesome group of people in her community that are good people. Elvis Presley, who's on here, he's a part of it. If I'm missing anybody else, I can't tell because I can only see Jen's large family parody. I think I found her. I found you we found each other in, was it Gordy Bob's? I'm not sure, but I've found some really cool people within the past couple of days. And I've actually grown quite a bit in the past couple of days. So to all my new subscribers, hello. I'm actually kind of overwhelmed because I grew a little bit more this week than I ever expected. But I love it. I like this. This is fun. It's already like 10:42 and I don't feel like I'm like bored already. I found out I'm sorry. Oh, you might be right. Linda's house. Okay. You're right. You're right. That was the first time I was ever in that. Yes, good. Yes, subscribe to Tiz Lisa, especially if you want to start any type of channel and you need to network She is a great networking website. So, dear God, my mouth. I have so much allergies and I've got them under control right now. But all night, like this side of my nose has been tingling me and I've been sneezing constantly. That's why I've been up all night long. So I'm hoping I can get this under control. So, anything, I just wanted to really come on and say hi. I don't want to ruin the movie for everybody. So I kind of wanted to give you a brief synopsis of what it's like. Definitely check it out. When more people probably see the movie, maybe I'll come back and we can have a chat. Maybe I can grab some people. I will never grab more than one or two. I've been on some websites that I've tried to go, when you have, and I've only seen this maybe once or twice, and when there's like a huge panel, I get lost. I'm like, who's talking? I can't tell. I'm like, oh my God. So I got to get ready to go because I got to get ready and I have to go up to my daughter's school and get everything prepared for her and get everything done. But please, look at each other, go through, if there's people you want to see, and if you want to grow your channel, look on other people's stuff here, like Jen's Large Family Parody, Tis Lisa, Kaylee Roberts. Do you have a site, honey? If you have a site, let me know, because I definitely want to help out others, good channels that are looking to grow and have great content. And who am I to say what's great content, actually? Because what might be great content to somebody else isn't for me. So that's why I go into a lot of people's stuff. I'm not a gamer. My kids are, and my husband are. So for that, so I can figure out what to do, then I'm totally losing my head right now. I'm like getting blank. Yes, my mental health, especially when you're dealing with chronic pain and things like that. Mental health is hard. I know. Every time I go into the hospital, and God knows I've been to like rehab, not like alcoholic rehab, but like rehab for my body. And then I share a building with everybody who's about 80 plus. And that was not fun. I don't enjoy that. And it's like, that will put me into such a bad state. And I'll be there for like a good 2 months. And then my husband's got to pull me out of it. So I refuse to go to hospitals anymore because it just doesn't do good things for my mental capacity. So I just try to do everything at home. All right, everybody, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Oh my God, I went almost 43 minutes. I'm like, I was so proud of myself. I went 10 minutes the other day. I didn't think I could talk this long. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I will definitely support all of you, whoever have a channel. And Kaylee, I am covering mental health. Yes, mental health. So definitely check out Kaylee Roberts, because Kaylee, I think I've already subscribed to you, but mental health for me is a big thing, because when you sit home all day by yourself, it can get quite lonely. So, all right, I'm just going to say goodbye. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. This was fun. I'm getting a little bit better with this. Trust me, I know this isn't great yet, but it's better than I was when I first started. All right, thanks everybody, and I will catch you all later. Have a good weekend. Bye.